Warlock Mage, they're the same thing. It's just one's purple and one's sort of blue.
All right, well, let's get into it. But first, Neil, it's time for today's On This Day in History.
Oh, I'm excited for this, yeah.
Keep things off right. On this day in history, 31 years ago, in 1990, in Chesapeake, Virginia, the greatest Hearthstone caster to have ever walked the face of the earth was born.
I thought Raven was British.
It was me.
Happy birthday, TJ.
I was going to do like a Michael Scott reference. I thought we had the same birthday, but I decided to put it into On This Day in History. Got to work on my birthday, man.
That's, I don't know. I'd have made a cake and everything for you if I'd known, but
I'm gonna take it easy today, Neil. You can take over. All right. Here. I'm gonna go lay down, take a nap.
Yeah,
and
come back in a few minutes.
I'll be back when Killing All Day's playing in a couple.
That's a few minutes. Yeah, that's how the meta is. He's only four.
We got a Hearthstone game going on. We already got some shenanigans going as well. Muzzy decides not to play Quest on turn 1. Decides to get the tour guide on board to try and fight a little bit. And that does change what lnguagehackr does on his first turn. He was planning on just playing Knight of Anointment, but instead decides to go for the Pack Mule just to try and contest this and not just give up his Knight of Anointment for free.
Yep, that makes sense to me. Actually, reacting to your opponent's plays. A new thing that's happened this turn. But Muzzy is on a really good position. This Flesh Giant's going to come down so early, so all he needs to do is try and keep control of the board. I say that because Zune normally does that very easily, but of course against this Paladin deck, sometimes things just get out of control. But lnguagehackr doesn't really have the out of control setup just yet. And Muzzy...
Ooh. Okay.
He's going to go for the Dark Glare tap. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll also be able to play the Unstable Shadow Blast as well on this turn. Because the Imp will attack and then damage again. But there won't be any follow-up to that. He'll have one extra mana crystal after the Unstable Shadow Blast. And I don't even know if it's worth it in this situation to peel off the Divine Shield, just because you may limit one minion buff in hand, but peeling off the Divine Shield, you could just kill whatever the buffed minion is going into the next turn with the Unstable Shadow Blast.
Do you advance the quest twice, though, doing this?
True.
And
actually, it...
Flesh Giant reduction.
Yep.
So that's the reason to do it. Because now we've got a Flesh Giant on turn 4. As intended.
As intended.
lnguagehackr might be tempted to try and draw a Conviction because this is already looking a bit icky.
Yeah, he's got the Hand of a Doll. The question is the sequencing here, right? Because obviously, in normal circumstances, you'd want to play the Knight of Anointment first. That way, the Hand of a Doll is less likely to pick up a Holy Spell. But playing Hand of a Doll first means if he picks up a 1-mana minion, then he would much rather, most likely, rather play that than the Knight of Anointment. Like if he picked up Righteous Protector or another Argent Squire to get more buffs from that Prismatic Jewel kit. And now he's really just thinking, which one of these do I kill? I think he's got to kill everything. If he's going to count the mana for Flesh Giant, the correct play, I think, they both do the same thing. Then it's Dark Glare. Because either way, if you kill the Imp, then you could attack and then tap and then play Flesh Giant for 2. Oh, jeez.
Can he do anything? Yeah, continue, sorry.
But if you kill if you leave the Dark Glare up, then he could tap and then get a mana crystal back and then play the Flesh Giant for free anyway. So either way, Flesh Giant would be able to come down.
Yeah, Muzzy there was looking for the Flame Imp off the tap and get the Giants down to 1. And It's just ridiculous. Sometimes you do actually manage to get the Giants, both of them, down to 0 on that turn with enough raised deads and flame imps. Not quite getting that draw, but 1-8-8 is enough because the next one coming down next turn is almost impossible for Paladin to deal with because the Giants just keep control of the board. Weirdly enough, one or two slaps, get rid of the opposing minions, and then hit them in the face for 16 a turn. Easy.
Yeah.
So many possibilities.
So the Minari Mosher will actually just by itself on the imp make the Flesh Giant free. So that's a turn 5 0 mana Giant, and if he wants to preserve the imp, which I think is probably worthwhile, he would trade with the Flesh Giant.
Yes. Yes, I like it because
So many possibilities.
the imp is still contributing towards the quest, although it shouldn't matter, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, this does set up for a 2-turn lethal, though. Actually, both plays probably set up for the 2-turn lethal because the Flesh Giant would have come out. This game is very over, regardless of which play he does. He can't kill anything. Yeah, he's just dead on board. Nothing he can do.
lnguagehackr applauding his opponent's play and skills and guile there.
Yes.
May the light grant you peace.
Hand of a Daw, Righteous Protector would save him. He needs exactly Righteous Protector.
This is your
Ardent Squire will not do it. Yeah, quick game 1. Muzzy takes the 1-0 lead.
Yep, not a lot to say about that. Muzzy obviously planned it all out nicely from turns 1 or 2, and this is the sort of deck I'm not surprised that he's having fun with this. This is the sort of deck that Muzzy used to love to grind on ladder back when he played ladder incessantly. Aggressive, but needs to use your brain. It's the very Muzzy sort of build indeed to me. So I'm not surprised he's picked this one up.
Yeah, just very nice sequencing throughout for going the quest on turn 1 to try and get a little bit of board presence, forcing lnguagehackr to go for a different line of play because of that. And yeah, just nicely done all around. Of course, having those 2 Flesh Giants in the top 10 cards with the way his hand panned out, yeah, that's nice. Got a little help, but played that out about as well as you could have, given the draws that he had. Now we move on to Quest Rogue. And this one's a little different from the ones we've seen, or at least a little different from the ones that we've seen. Not running kind of the stealth package with Greyheart Sage and the Spy Mistress, but instead opting for like Foxy Fraud Swindle, SI7 Infiltrators.
Everyone's favorite card.
Which, yeah.
I've lost to that card.
Yeah, the search bar decks, I think Sottle gave up my secret that I'm not a big fan of search bar decks, and I was going against that by saying I actually like the SI7 Rogue a little bit, but only if you exclude the bad SI7 cards. Muzzy did not, because SI7 Infiltrator doesn't have that much game against most decks in the metagame. Sure, Secret Handbuff Paladin and sometimes Quest Mage, but it doesn't even line up with the secrets a lot of times. It's just there to have more SI7 cards to keep in your mulligan to progress the quest as fast as you can, because the win condition for this deck is to stick the scabs on board, give it stealth with the Noggin Fogger or whatever gizmo, and then Battle Master it the next turn with a Wicked Stab to push for lethal. Like, that's it.
Hacker celebrating his draw of 2 Battle Masters so he gets so much damage into his opponent's face. That's right, TJ?
Yeah. I mean, this is the downside of playing this Paladin deck is, like, sometimes you just get convictions in Battle Masters early on, and you'd want to draw those after you've already built a board instead of having to use those to build a board. So, he drew all of his top end. Those are the 3 most expensive cards in his deck, the double Battle Master and the Moonfang. So,
I am curious to see next week if we see more of the stealthy version with the 2/2 stealth thing and the Jungle Panther and the 8/8 buff, and that just looks more consistent. It doesn't look as good, it doesn't look as versatile, it just looks like it does the thing really, really consistently, because if you whiff, you've still got a 1/1 that you can put +8/+8 on, and still you've got something going on. Whereas the current build, like, you do get these draws,
Many options.
as you can see, because somebody has this draw.
Yep. Looks like he's going to get an SI7 down here. See what I did there? Every card in his deck has SI7 on it. No, the SI7 agent.
Got it. Because we used to call this SI7, and it's got very, very complicated for us old-timers now. Because you're officially an old-timer when you hit 31. Did you know that? I googled that.
Oh, did you?
You're now a boomer, TJ.
Cool. And I think just being born in the 1990s, I can't be a boomer. Like, it's just impossible for me to be a boomer. So, no matter what happens.
I mean, did you used to call a phone a cell phone?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then you're not a boomer. If you never called it a cell phone, I think you're good. Sure.
Call it a
believe
mobile
you.
phone.
Or mobile, but I didn't want to go with the mobile thing. Brits get in trouble when they try to say that word.
Yeah.
You know it's mobile. Moving on, though. Muzzy's got quite a mobile set of minions that are trying to immobilize language hackers quite convincingly right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got full control of the board. He could play the undercover mole, hit with the dagger, and then just take a couple value trades. And you know, this is a deck that you can certainly value trade against because outside of the first Blade of Rin, there's really not much that they can do from hand. I guess Blade Master Samuro as well, but that just gives you more reason to trade on board because it's going to clear everything up regardless. And I mean, that's a big Moonfang. It's going to take 5 individual hits, and currently Muzzy does not have a way to combo the SI7 Assassin to get that down. Could just see what's in the box first. He could always play the Battle Master and get another card. Oh my, that's a combo for the Assassin. It's.
I want to see Hacker react to this. All eyes on Language Hacker.
Gosh.
Because he is going to lose it.
Oh my gosh. All right, this is 2-0. Holy moly.
He's starting to sense it, TJ. He's preparing himself.
Yikes. Yep, Language Hacker knows. He absolutely knows. He started shaking his head before that even happened. As soon as like the 1 minute discovered spell or the spell from the mole came out, I know he had it in his mind that Assassin was coming.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we're looking at a lethal setup for Muzzy the next turn with the Battle Master. There is 12 damage on board, and the Battle Master will add another 7. So this has got to be Righteous Protector again.
Oh no, here we go. No, don't play the right hand one. You know not to do that.
Yeah.
No.
And that is lethal. You play the Battle Master in between the SI7 agent and the mole. Attack the mole twice into the Encumbered Mule. The Wind Fury move over to the Cult Neophyte. Oh no, that's not lethal. That's 1 damage off. Can he do it any other way? Yeah, he'd be a little bit off because that would be 10 damage on board, and the Battle Master would give another 6. So it would be 16. I mean, he could set it up.
You can get 17
next turn.
by killing off different things, but I don't know. I think you're one short, yeah. But who cares, I guess, if you're Muzzy. 1, 2 damage. You get there.
Yeah.
Also, one thing about Language Hacker that might not be apparent if you're not used to watching Language Hacker is for all of his sort of shenanigans, he doesn't ever let it affect his play, I don't think. He just gets it out of his system and then moves on to the next game as if nothing had happened. But Muz is feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, that was 2 very one-sided games to start things off. And there's the only highlight you need. He almost did the full spin. He came back the other way. I was a little upset about that. I think in order to maximize his plays for this game, he would have needed to gone for the full chair spin, 1 full revolution. Instead, stopped at about 250 degrees and then went back the other way. So a little disappointed in that from lnguagehackr, but other than that, I mean, there was nothing he could do.
He was so disgusted with his plays there, or his hand at least, that he did a full 360 and just walked off.
This is yours, Monk.
Muzzy, Anaconda Druid, needs to get one win somewhere along the line. This is almost certainly his weakest deck. I actually think his weakest deck in this matchup is the Priest, but for some reason lnguagehackr didn't fancy taking that on. I actually think the Priest is just not very good, because it was a control Priest.
Yeah, I think that lnguagehackr's got a lot of game against the Anaconda Druid with his decks. Anaconda Druid just does not do very well against hand buff Paladin, because they literally have one way to control the board early game, and that's Lunar Eclipse. Everything else, he just takes damage for 4 turns. And
yeah, Lunar Eclipse against
build the board for 4 turns. So
hard mulligan for Hacker. He's going to just look for cards he can play on curve that make sense. Yeah, Lunar Eclipse isn't even guaranteed to kill anything if he gets the hand bust, but he's forgotten to draw a minion at this time around.
I mean, the Banana Man's okay, but it's not what he wants to be doing. He usually wants to be getting on the board quickly. I mean, Jewel Kit on 1 and Hero Power on 2 has been his play for like 2 games in a row. This game, at least, he'll have the Bannerman, First Blade of Rin, and then can make like 1 big minion, which can also be hard for Druid to deal with. Sees another pass on turn 2, which, I mean, most of the time, that's what Druid's doing anyway. Muzzy has the makings of some big pop-off turns with Fungal Fortunes on 3 and Coin Innervate still available. We'll see how much of a board lnguagehackr can build in the next 2 turns, because it's going to be pretty big. Snare Ward as well. So Lunar Eclipse plus Fungal Fortunes. And I mean, this is looking like already a good Lady Anaconda hand, so he really doesn't want to discard it. And it looks like he's good based off the animations. Has a fully juiced Glowfly Swarm for next turn as well.
Well, here is the minion that lnguagehackr is going to be pinning it on. He's actually going to take his time, so he can kill more things if he gets swarmed next turn. First Blade to put the pressure on is what he wants to do, but if he gets Glowfly swarmed, it might not be enough.
Yeah. There's no follow-up currently for the Glowfly Swarm in Muzzy's hand. There's Solar Eclipse, but no Arbor Up, and no Lightning Bloom, no ramp. So the Glowfly Swarm would just be Glowfly Swarm at that point. So I don't think it's too worrying at the moment. And is just going to try and dig, because I think he suspects a Glowfly Swarm is on the horizon, wants to give himself maximum chance to hit the Blade Master Samuro going into the next turn. Because if he had just gone First Blade of Rin, which is... It's not even the most power he can do, actually. This is just more power as well. Then next turn he wouldn't have enough mana to Hand of a Doll plus play Blade Master Samuro if he drew it.
Not a lot of follow-up at the moment for this Swarm. That can change in a hurry, of course.
Yeah.
And also, lnguagehackr will be expecting 7 Arbor Ups next turn, and yeah, he has to play with that in mind, but as it happens, they're actually not doing that much, as we can see right now.
And he can't even draw it next turn, right? Like, he would have 1 draw, so even if you drew Arbor Up, it would just be an Arbor Up and not a Solar Eclipse Arbor Up. Though Arbor Up by itself might even be enough to end the game. He's going to kill 3 this turn, I think. I would suspect First Blade of Rin, double trade with the Divine Shields, or trade with the Divine Shield first to get the buff on the First Blade of Rin. Then First Blade of Rin, trade it in, and then Knight of Anointment, which would now be a 3/3.
Okay.
I have little time.
I mean, this is the play he went for last turn for this eventuality, right? The natural play is just to play the First Blade last turn and start hitting your opponent for huge chunks of damage, but yeah, he did play with this in mind. But even so, it doesn't make him that much more pleasant when you get that. He hits another one. Muzzy does, but this time lnguagehackr does have some monstrous stuff already on the board waiting for it.
He's just gonna full trade and play another Glowfly Swarm. Muzzy rubbing his hands together. Oh my gosh. Again, though, still no follow-up, but still an opportunity to pick up the Arbor up next turn, and then he would have Innervate, Solar Eclipse, Arbor up, which would certainly end the game because Language Hacker can clear off 2 of these max. And, you know, that's with using a Battle Master, and then his follow-up is pretty weak. Because he just has a handful of spells. He's not... I mean, Conviction Battlemaster, if he had stuck something big and Muzzy hadn't been able to fight for board early on, then we could have been looking at a quick win for Language Hacker, actually, in this game. But he just had the goods. And honestly, I don't even know what the play here for Language Hacker is, if he just has to hope that Arbor up isn't there, and maybe go a little wider, like play Hand of a Doll, Robo Protection, Argent Squire.
That's what I was thinking. Because then at least, if he's got it, you're going to lose anyway. But if he hasn't got it, maybe you can make something happen with a Battle Master.
Oh, he went face. That's Arbor up. No way. No way.
Muzzy's having the time of his life. He doesn't even want to see the card. It's just like, don't show me that Arbor up. I don't think Muzzy will be too bothered about not having to play the card. He is feeling this new season. He's straight into the semi-finals, and what a difference from the start last season.
I mean, that was like the most one-sided series I've seen in a long time. A long time. And I think we may have cursed Language Hacker.
Yeah, I think we have.
Because we said yesterday, oh, this is going to be the season, you know, all the non-games are out for Language Hacker. He got them all out of his system in the first season of 2021. And then, yeah. And then this...
Well, we were talking about the Warlock. We didn't realize that Language Hacker was then going to just bring Paladin. We thought he was going to bring 3 Warlock decks. And the Paladin just refusing to behave itself. Oof.
And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, Muzzy's going to move on to semifinals tomorrow. He's going to face the winner of Chaos Luna versus Dreadeye. So that should be a fun one that we have coming up next. Newcomer winning his group, Chaos Luna versus semi-newcomer, Dreadeye. Doing pretty well in his first season last season. Going to try and continue that trend and maybe one up a little bit, do a little bit better in the playoffs. Make playoffs first, and then continue improving upon his performances.